Hi, this is Neil Walters of neilsvideos.com, and I want to show you today how to get started with Townstar, the new Gadot system, which will be used hopefully for Mayhem. There's going to be some big prizes this month, and I know a lot of people are going to be playing. If you search for, how to get started on Townstar, that might be why you found this video. So I'm assuming that you're a beginner, and this video is only for beginners, not for anybody that's really been playing before. So I'm going to cover the basics, and I might mention some of the differences between Godot and how it used to work. So basically, you start off with a certain amount of money up here. I don't know why they're giving us $10 million right now. I think when the real game starts, that'll be small again, like maybe, I forget if it's 25 or 35, 50,000. They're probably not going to give you 10 million for the real games and the competitions, right? And anyway, this is called your city cash up here. And then this is the first important thing to monitor is this little, this is your minute spin rate. So your workers on your screen are going to consume wages, basically. And they're like $100 a minute. So, I don't know. There's not always logic in this game. Like, why does one farmer cost $100 a minute? So I guess, it's symbolic, right, of many farmers out working on a farm or something like that. But this is the farmhouse right here. You click on it. You can't move anything. Once you placed it down, you still can't move it, right? So the farmer's going to come out of that house and he's going to go try to harvest the crops. So right now, let's look at the two crops that we have. Okay, see that says it's growing wheat, and this is called a timer. We got a green timer, which is good. And this one is also got a green timer. Now watch what happens when it grows. Okay, the wheat just grew. Now the farmer can collect it. And now watch what happens on this one. So I want to show you. See, it says I only have 2 out of 3 water. So you have to water your crops. And that's one of the first things you're going to have to learn on Townstar is what's called the proximity effects, which I didn't even understand that at all when I first started. So you're going to have a big advantage just by watching this video. So this pond here will give 2 waters to the adjacent squares. So like this guy here, see, he had 3 out of 3 waters, so he immediately started producing. Whereas this crop actually waited on the farmer to bring him water. And I want to show you that again here. I'll just wait a second. So anyway, he harvests that crop. Now watch again, it says 2 out of 3. Now, the farmer has to make a decision. I either have to water that crop or gather this crop. So he made the decision to get water. So this is the water, the place where the buckets of water come from, and it is called a well, or water well, basically. And it takes like 20 seconds to pull water out of the ground, and then this well will turn to a blue color once its water's there. So if we just watch that for a second, as soon as that reaches 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know I said that a little fast. Come on, show me there. See, now the well has water in it. Okay. Now, the water well doesn't have a proximity effect. So adding another water well here wouldn't help, but you could add a pond here. These are called marshes, and you cannot add marshes. You can only remove them. So it's like this is a piece of raw land, and it had some built-in ponds and marshes. Now you can add ponds wherever you want, but you cannot add marshes. Marshes give 1 water to surrounding squares, and the ponds give 2. So see, this guy right here was getting 2 water, and the reason is he's getting 1 from this marsh, and he's getting 1 from this pond. And now I have to show you the famous dubstep rods playbook. Okay, you're gonna have that to basically be good at this game. Okay, he's got the best thing out there. We all use it, I believe, and let me show you that. So what this is a Google spreadsheet. It says actually I need to reload to get to the current version. Okay, and this is the home page. At the bottom, you're going to see different tabs. Like I said, it's a spreadsheet, so there should be tabs down here. Second, it might still be loading. Okay, there's the tabs. So the first 2 you're going to have to look at is objects and items. Objects are basically the buildings and the lake, the ponds and things like that you put on the screen. And items are the things that they produce. So for example, a farm creates wheat. So a farm is an object, a wheat would be an item. So let's look at objects over here and let's find the wheat farm. So one of the first things you're going to have to do is just familiarize yourself with the names of these objects. And there's really quite a few of them to learn step by step. I'm going to hit Control F and type in wheat. I switched to a different browser and machine to make this a little faster. So there's wheat down here, and there is the wheat field. And how to read this real quick. So it costs $250 to build a wheat field. It takes 4 seconds of time to actually construct it between the time you add it and the time it's available. Some things will take like a minute or a minute and a half, but wheat fields are pretty fast. And it takes here 3 buckets of water. That's what they call the crafting cost. And you need these items to be able to make wheat. And then these are the different timers and how long they take. So it takes, if it's green, it takes 20 seconds. In the worst case, if it's red, it takes 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Now, what can make it red? These are the 3 things over here. These are called the proximity, effect, impact. If they're in the shade, like if you have a tall building next to your wheat, that will put shade on it and that will lower its ability to produce wheat. If you have dirtiness, which really maybe should be called pollution, that's like if you have a refinery nearby. Refinery has pollution or dirtiness, and the dirtiness will slow down your crops. The next one is salty, and that would be if you're by an ocean or if you have a salt field or something, that might slow it down. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to know. Okay, and this is no, that's really what you need to know there. Now let's talk about how you get the water in there. So we talked about needing 3 water to get the thing to grow. So now we're going to go look for a pond. You can either scroll back or you can just come over here and search for pond. And I need to go backwards here. On the left side, there's your pond. And he doesn't show here the proximity effect, but here's the trick. If you click it and you click this object cards, you're going to get a blow up of that item. And now you see these little grids or matrices here. And so that represents the pond, and see how it gives 2 waters to everybody that's basically touching it, including the diagonals. And then it gives 1 water to anybody that's basically 2 squares away, except for the diagonal corners. Okay, that's where it gets confusing. So that's why I often have to come here and look at these little diagrams. So that is why that our guy is getting 2 waters. Marsh would be a grid of 1, okay? So this guy here, this field, is getting 1 water from this marsh, and he's getting 1 water from this, because it goes like 2, 1, 1, if you count it that way. Let me show you what I mean. See here, like there's the pond. You can go 2, 1, 1. You go sideways 1, and you're still within the range. Okay, so that is how proximity works. Here's an example on a power plant. It creates what's called dirtiness. No, power, which is a good thing. So it gives you a 3, 2, 1 on power. So anything next to it is going to automatically get what's called passive power. Here we're giving passive water. So in the game, you could just build a bunch of water wells and not have any ponds, but then the workers have to go to that and carry the buckets, and it's a lot slower. By having a pond here, you speed things up. So now again, this is how the game starts. I'm not sure it's going to be exactly the same for everybody or not, but right now in this preview demo, everybody gets this exact same setup, okay? And that they used to have different biomes, and I think they're still going to have those. Like they have what's called a desert, a forest. I forget the others. Those are the 2 main ones I use. So in the forest, the advantage is you have lots of trees, which you're going to need a lumberjack to cut those down. So let's go ahead and add the lumberjack. Lumberjack, most houses have to be near a road. So this is a dirt road. So right here, I'm going to add lumberjack. Now, this is going to take me a while to relearn, because in the old system, you would click there, and then you would click this button down here. But now you don't click first, you click afterwards. You click this guy, and then up here, you're going to have these 5 different tabs. So this is your farm items, your ranch items. This is your terrain, your industrial, your transport, And this is going to be, I think, the seafood stuff. Okay, so over here, we're going to go to this screen, the farm itself. And what did I say? Oh, we're going to get a lumberjack. I'm not sure, why they put some things where they do. Like, why is the lumberjack on a farm? But anyway, he costs $2,500, and he's going to charge us $30 a minute. So I'm going to back up before I add it. Again, this is very basic beginner stuff. See, right now we're getting charged $100 an hour. What is that coming from? Well, we'd have to actually kind of look at several buildings. This building is called a constructor building. It's charging us $20 a minute. This farmer, click on that, is $10 a minute. So where's my other $70 coming from? I don't think storehouse doesn't cost anything. Truck, there's 20. So there's 20 plus 20 plus 10. That's only 50. That's a good question. I don't even know where the other one's coming from because it should only be the workers that are charging you money. So, maybe they have some bugs they're trying to work out. And this timer here shows you how much you have left in your minute. So see that $100? Watch up here. So right now we have 350 and we have about 15 seconds left. Now we have about probably 10 to 7 seconds left. I'm going to just wait and talk you through this. And then boom, it's getting up here. See that 350? As soon as that color changes, should go down to 250. Didn't do it yet. Maybe it's when it gets to the next square. Huh. Wow. These are the basics that should be working. I don't know why that didn't do what I just said it was going to do. Well, anyway, that's the way it's supposed to work. Okay, so now we were going to add a lumberjack, right? So we're going to come down here. We're going to click on this farm building, and now we're going to come down here and look for lumberjack house. So this says must place near a road, and it's going to add $30 a minute. So if this works, now we have to add our lumberjack. See, we can see where it can go, and see how it shows red there. That's not a valid place because there's no road. So like if I put it here, that turns green, and I didn't really mean to click on that. So I'm going to hit cancel. Let me do that again. If you hit cancel fast enough, you don't get charged for it. So now, yeah, there it is. Okay. So I'm going to put it right here. And one thing in Gadot now, they're going to allow you to put it in odd spaces. But for now, I'm going to just be simple, and I'm going to stick it right on the even number of spaces. There might be tricks for that later, but I'm going to stick with kind of the old way of doing things. So I'm going to put it right there. Now, it's going to take a few seconds to build. Okay, it already built. By the way, let me show you these arrow keys. I'm using my mouse, and there's a roller button on my mouse. And when I roll the button down, my town gets smaller. When I roll it up, it gets bigger or zooms in, basically. And now look over here, the rate has increased. So it looks like it should have jumped to me to 130, but it jumped to 160. So I believe that's a bug that they're going to be fixing. Okay, now, so we've added a lumberjack. Now watch what happens to him. See, he's already gone to work here. Okay, there you go. He got a tree. He threw it on the road. Well, the reason he threw it on the road was this is your place that wood gets stored. It's called a woodshed. The woodshed can only hold 10 wood. So he's over there chopping trees, but he has nowhere to put them. So for some reason, they'll walk to the nearest road and then they'll throw down the item on the ground and you basically lose it. Okay. So let's build something else that will use a piece of wood. So let's build a dirt road right here. I have to remember how this new thing works. Okay. Roads are going to be over here under this box, I believe, which is called the terrain. It used to be called terrain. And a road's going to cost me $1,000. And I want to put it right there. Now, it should just readjust and fit the existing roads. Now, if I want to do it again, there's a quick buy button down here. So I can do the same thing here. And let's say I'm going to turn the corner now and do it again here. So a couple of reasons you need roads. Number one is some houses or buildings require that you build them next to a road. They can't just be put anywhere. And let's say, for example, I want to add another farmer. And let's say I didn't have any roads over here. This is something you can do. It's not necessarily advisable. Let's say I want to put a farmer right here. So I would have to build a road here first. Sorry. When I clicked on that, I lost my preview too. So anyway, I got to go back now here, go to terrain, pick the road again. And let's stick it right there. It takes just a second to build. See, that have it's like a construction zone around there. And they shoot off some balloons as soon as it's built. And I want to build a rancher house here. Come over here, we're going to look for a rancher, which would be on the farm. And these are some of the other things you can build. See, some things are pretty expensive, like a candy store is 150,000. A bakery is 400,000. A cakery is $1 million. So eventually you will have that much money and you will be building some of these things. Each week they have different contests, and the contest will tell you what you need to optimize for. So like one week we might be trying to build cakes, and the next week it might be sushi or something like that. So the game kind of changes depending on the competition each week. And I already forgot what I was coming here for. I was looking for a farmer, a farmer, farmer. So where's the farmhouse? Oh, here he is. Nice big, $1,250. He's going to cost $10 a minute. And just giving us comments here. That's okay. Okay, there's my little house. And again, see, I cannot put it here. Now, as long as a small piece of it touches the road, you could put it there. But I'd say, again, let's be practical and just put it right on the even spot. So now we're in construction mode. And see, it says, oh, I need a wood. So the lumberjack house does not need any wood. It's like a catch-22. How can you build a lumber house until you have lumber, and you need the lumber house to make lumber? So they give you that house with no wood. But now this guy is requiring wood. And now see the little man there is coming to put wood on it. Let me explain that. Like I said, this is very beginner stuff I'm showing you. This is called your builder house here. He doesn't require wood either. Those are the only two buildings that don't require wood, I think, or other resources. So now we drop the wood on here. And see, now I click it. It's going to take like 3, 4, 5 seconds to build. And boom, now I have another farmer. Now, that was not necessarily a smart place for the farmer because watch, he's going to come out of that door and he's going to have to walk across all these fields to go down here and get a crop. So he's not going to be an efficient farmer, right? So here he comes waddling along. And later you'll learn there's a farm tractor as well that moves faster, but it's much more expensive than the farmhouse. So when you're first starting out, you're going to be using like farmhouses, and as you upgrade later, you'll be able to upgrade to tractors. Okay. So now here he comes, and now our crops should basically and potentially could double in speed. This is where I always call it a game of constraints. It's like, you could have 5 farmers, but if you only have 2 crops, then your 2 crops are your constraint. On the other hand, if you have 5 crops and 1 farmer, then your farmer is your constraint. So you have to balance the number of farmers to the number of crops. And that is the challenging part of the game. And there's not always one set way to do it, right? So this is where you have to think, and it is kind of a game. Well, definitely it's a game of strategy and planning and learning how these characters kind of work and do their thing. Okay, so now we have that extra house. We've explained what a constructor is. We've explained what the lumberjack does. And he's off cutting wood. And by the way, when he delivered that lumber out of here, it would have gone down from 10 to 9. But already he's refilling it. Okay, so that's a good thing. So now let's build, for example, this is more of a teaching thing than what I would do in the real world. So I'm going to build a pond right here. Okay, because I want you to see how you build a pond. So I'm going to go back over here. We're going to go to terrain, and we're going to put pond, which is 10 grand. Now, when you're playing as a beginner, you're not probably going to have enough money in the first hour of the game to build a pond. So you want to use the ponds that are already there. And I'll explain that more in a minute. But I just want to go ahead and show you how a pond gets built. And notice that it takes 10 waters. Remember that you cannot build marshes, only ponds. So I'm going to put that right there. And see, it's got the construction zone around it. And if we click on it, it says, oh, I got 2 waters out of 10. So where did it get the 2 waters from, you ask? Okay. It's just like this crop. It's getting 1 water from the marsh. And because it's 2 squares away from the pond, it got 1 water from the pond passively. And so now here, we now have 3 because the little guy carried a bucket of water from this well over here. So you're going to have to wait until this well fills up like 7 times to fill up the pond. Okay. And if you want to, you can build another well. Okay. So let me stick a well like right here. Go over here. And like I said, I'm just trying to show you some of these common items, even though I might not do it exactly like this. There's your well. I think these are in alphabetical order, so it's $1,250. And I want to stick it. Um, I want it close, but not too close. So this is where you get into your strategy. How do you know where to put things, right? Because I might want to put more crops right here. Now, these are your tree stubs. So you notice when the lumberjack guy goes and chops down a tree, the tree will regrow, but it takes forever. So this one's only a minute and so many seconds. Let's take a look at a few of these. There's one, see, 6 minutes. And that's because it's in the shade, which we'll talk about more later. This one's got a little bit of shade. It's got 38 seconds and so on. So you can see there's a slow one there because you got shade from a couple different buildings. And again, this one's going to be a lot of shade. So some of these trees will take 5, 10 minutes or even longer to grow. But the point is they are renewable and they do grow, but it's only basically 1 tree per time they chop it down. So now the guy's getting more water over here and you got 4 out of 10. So meanwhile, we're going to do other things while that's going on because that's kind of boring just sitting there watching that, right? So that little builder there is actually working with both of these wells. And we can always make another builder, right? So let's add another builder. Um, there's a couple of theories on where you can put your builder house. They do not require roads. You could put one over here in the corner, in the upper left corner, for example, or this corner. Or the other idea is you want it close to your wood because most of the time they're carrying wood, but they will carry water as well. So let's add the builder right here. So we're going to go over here, go to the industrial tab, which is this like refinery looking thing. And we are going to look for a builder right here, $2,500 builder house. And so far, we've not really been focusing on selling things. We'll get back to that in a minute. In the real world, you're going to have to start selling things so you don't run out of money up here. But since they gave us $10 million, I'm just kind of teaching right now and not worrying about the money. Okay, so now we have 2 builders. And so now, hopefully, he'll come out his door, and one of them will go for this bucket of water, and one will go for this bucket, as long as, see, he's coming down here now. And maybe by the time he gets home over here, this well will have more water in it. See, 13 seconds. So more than likely, this guy will go to his little house, and then this will have water, and then he'll say, "Oh, there's water over there," and he'll start walking down there to get the water, right? Okay. So while that's going on, we could build another wheat field like right here. So let's go click here, and now we're going to go for a wheat field. I'm on the wrong tab. I can't be on the industrial tab. I need to be on the farm tab. These are all your crops would be. I kind of wish they'd make a tab just for the crops. They will take suggestions in Discord, but you know how often how long it takes them, and you know how many people really want that feature determines on whether they do it versus other things they have in the mix of things to do. So I'm scrolling down looking for wheat field here, and there's $250 wheat field, and I'm going to stick it right here. That is a good place for it because it's going to get 3 waters. This guy's going to get 2. It's going to have 4 water, really, which is more than it needs. So see, boom, it started immediately creating wheat. So it's getting 2 from the pond because it's touching the pond at least diagonally. It's getting 1 from each of the 2 marshes, so it's getting 4 waters. Okay. Let's say, what if I put it here? So at the beginning of the game, you can look at all the lakes that you have. I call them lakes sometimes. They're really called ponds. You can also, by the way, take your cursor and you can drag your town around like this, using your mouse. And you can also, it's faster when I'm not making videos. This is always an issue I have. Having the video software running slows this down a lot. You can also hold down your right mouse button, and then you can rotate your town. And so you can actually look at it from different angles if you prefer. I usually have it where I have my truck at the top. And oh, I just noticed it looks like we have either a lake or an ocean down here. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let me get this line back up. Okay, so let's say you want to build another crop. There's another type of crop called sugar, and it requires a little bit more water. So I'm going to give you a bad example. Let me put a sugar right here and show you that it's not going to have enough water. Right here, it's going to be getting 2 waters, one from each of the marshes. And I'm going to stick another one. I'm going to build another one right here. Okay, now let's look at this one. See, it's only getting 2 out of 4 water. So it's getting, like I said, 2 because it's getting 1 from each marsh. So that was a bad place to put it. And when you first begin, you're going to make mistakes like that. And see, now the farmer has to waddle all the way over here, throw the water on there, and it's still only going to have 3 out of 4 water. And see, now he's coming with this water, and then it's going to have 4. Okay. Meanwhile, while he's the farmer took the water from the wells. Oh, this pond finally finished. I didn't notice. But it could be competing that the water is needed over here, but then the water is needed over here, and so you have multiple guys going for the same water. So that was a bad place to put it. So you can remove it. Even though I paid $250 to have it added, now I can remove it, and I should get $63 back over here on the left side. So there, that worked. 40 plus 63 was 103. Okay. Now this one, you can't see how much water it needs until it's oh crap face on there. Well, let's go back to our Town Star guide. So let's do that. Let's go back here. And so we want to go to objects and look for sugar. It's called sugar cane, actually. There's a difference between sugar and sugar cane. Right here, see, it says it needs 4 waters, okay? So to build sugar cane, you need 4 waters. So this one is getting actually a bunch of water. It's getting 2 from the pond, and it's like 3, 4, 5, 6. So this guy's getting 6 waters. Let me do another example here. I'll show you what's called a forest. When eventually you're going to need more squares on your board to build more buildings, and you're going to have to remove some trees. Let's say we want to put a forest right here. Just a minute to build. There it is. Okay. So now how much water does it? Okay. I think it needs 5. But let's count. We're getting 2 from here. This count's a little more complicated. It's getting 2 from here, 1 from this pond, 1 from that pond, 1 from this marsh, and 1 from that marsh. If we go back to the playbook again, we're going to now look for tree farm. There's a difference between a tree and a tree farm. The tree farm needs 5 water. And I think one of the biggest items that needs water is a pumpkin, which requires 10. And then you can make pumpkin pies with your pumpkins, for example. I'll show you up here, pumpkins. You kind of memorize this stuff, but then you kind of sometimes forget, and then they sometimes change stuff too. So like I think trees used to be 7 water when I first started playing, but then they made it easier for us. So sometimes these numbers will change slightly. And then when they have contests, they can also tweak the numbers to make the game more interesting during that week. Now, I'm introducing to you now the next issue is that you have storage limitations. So here, all your crops are going into what's called a silo. Okay? The silo will hold 20 items. And when it's done, again, the farmers will throw the crops on the ground. So what do we need to do? So we're going to sell stuff. So this is your truck to sell things. And you can sell whatever items you've produced that are in your inventory. So we have right now 20 wheat over here. This truck will sell 10 items at a time. It will not sell 3 or 4 or 6 items, only 10. So you're going to click that truck. You're going to hit sell button down here. And then this is the item you want to sell. See right here, when I click that, it says gas, wheat, and then wood. I want to sell some wheat. And then you just click the sell button here. It's going to cost you what's called 1 gasoline, which we're going to get to. And you're going to make $3,000, which is nice. And according to this, it's going to take 1 minute to deliver. I think I heard someone say that the delivery time was only going to be like 5 or 15 seconds. So I don't know. They sometimes tell us stuff on these, what they call AMA meetings, and off the truck goes. And actually, there used to be a timer over here that would show you like how long the truck would take to get back, but I don't see that currently. So now, oh, that was pretty fast. So it was like 5-10 seconds. So now, see, we got down to 10 wheat, and already the farmers put another wheat in there. And now watch, this farmer is going to come down here and grab the sugar cane, and he's going to put it in the same silo. If it doesn't fill up first, okay, which I don't think it is. But the point is, if you're actually building like 5 or 6 different crops, one silo is not going to be enough. And I'll get to that in a minute. You might have to build more silos. And silos are a very tall building and they create a lot of shade. So you don't want to build your silos too close to your crops because then it will shade your crops and slow them down. On the other hand, you want your silo close enough where the farmers don't have to walk very far to get to it. Now you say, Neil, wouldn't it be nice if I could automatically sell my wheat every time I had some? Good question. And the answer is yes. So over here, there's an auto sell feature. If you click that little guy, no, let's look over here. It's that little gear symbol. Right here, there's something called auto sell. You have to turn it on, and then you go to customize. Okay. And then over here, it looks very similar to the other sell screen. But I think I heard this says, like, as soon as I have 10, sell them. In the old game, you would put 0, I think, how many you want to keep. Okay. So we're going to test this. We're going to try to sell 10 automatically. Update. So this is going to be a list of like all the items. Like I could do the same thing now for sugar and so on. So this list will grow the more items you add to it. And now when you go back over here, if it hasn't already started, the truck, see, is gone and it's selling your wheat. And so see right now we have 9 wheat sitting there. And guess what? As soon as we get 1 more wheat, that truck should go deliver it again. So let's watch it happen. Boom, there we should have 10 wheat, and boom, there the wheats go, along with 1 gas can. Did you notice that a little gas can flew into the truck because the truck takes gas, right? So that's going to get us into the gas question. Here, they only give you 40 gas to start with. And so the big challenge as a beginner is going to be to build a gasoline plant, or what I call an industrial complex, before you run out of gas here. And I just posted a video this morning, which is April 27th, that I talk about how to build the gas. Before we can get to that, though, you're going to need a lot of money to build gas. And so you have to sell crops, okay? So you have to come up with a strategy of how to sell some good products. And let me be frank with you, wheat is not a good product to sell. So at the beginning of the game, you might sell 1 or 2 wheat, but then you kind of need to stop selling wheat because it will basically drain your gas really, really fast. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to refine your wheat into something that's more valuable, like flour. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to put a windmill over here. We're going to click this, and we're going to go look for windmill. And the windmill basically grinds 3 types of products, and it's run by wind. There's no electricity or energy required for it. So we're going to $7,500, so it's a little more expensive than most of the other buildings we've done so far, right? We're going to drag it, put it right here. It has to be on a road, so you don't want to put it over here. Can't put it there, right? You're going to put it right here and click the button. Now it's going to take some wood. It takes 5 wood to build a windmill. Look over here at our little wood shed. We have 10 wood now, or we had 9, and actually 2 of them are already on the way, right? So as soon as that thing gets 5 wood, it's going to build itself. Okay. I think I paused the video so you didn't have to wait for that. We have 4 right now. Let me pause again. Oop, there just went some wheat while I had the video paused, so that wasted another one of my gas. So since this is just a demo, I'm probably going to run out of gas. Again, this is a teaching video, not a real game that I'm playing. So there's the wood. And now, what does it say? See, it takes maybe 12, 15 seconds after it gets the wood to do this little building activity. And then countdown, you have a windmill. Now, all these buildings, by the way, you can turn them around. So you can click here and hit rotate. And you want to put the door where it's most effective for your workers. So since they're coming down the road, you want that little door to face the road. And now the windmill won't start on its own because it's got actually multiple things it can do. Okay. And this says, by the way, it's affected by shade, or actually causes 3 shade. That's what that means. So down here, you're gonna hit the craft button because the windmill is a crafting type of item. You didn't have to do that with crops because there's only one crop that, like wheat only grows wheat, sugar only grows sugar cane, whatever. So here you're gonna click that and then click craft, and now here's your choices. So sugar sells for more than flour, and I can't remember what salt sells for, but just to give you an example, we're gonna turn this wheat into flour. So we're gonna click the make button there, and then when you're clicking on a building like this, the worker is tagged with that little red thing on top. Just for example, if I click the farmer, you see that farmer where he's going. If I click this farmer, that's the other one. If I click the construction worker, well, there's Steve right now. So anyway, that's how you identify your workers. You can see like, okay, he went there, he grabbed the wheat, he's carrying it over here. And now he actually got a wood first. He got one of the 2 wheat, and now he's going to go grab another wheat. Here he goes. So you just got to be patient. It is kind of, in a way, it's a slow moving game, but on the other hand, you can do other things while you're playing it. You can watch some YouTubes and stuff like that, or play something else on your phone, or just kind of come back every few minutes. Now you see it's turning. So let me rotate my town a little bit here with my right mouse key. There, and see how the windmill's turning. If you click on it, it tells you how long it's going to take. So let's say it was maybe 25, 30 seconds. It's green, which is what you want, and it's moving down, down, down. And as soon as it's done, the flour will be available. So 3, 2, 1, it stops. Now he's carrying a flour. There's actually a different icon on there. It looks different than the wheat. And the flour is going to go over here in the storehouse. So you gotta have to learn as the game goes on which products go to which storage facility. So a silo is for raw crops that come out of the ground typically, and a storehouse is for refined products. Okay, and there's like a seafood storage as well, but that's a much more advanced feature that they just came out with last month. Okay, so now the thing starts over, and he needs one more wheat and another wood, and so on. So now I'm going to rotate again back away. We want to set up an auto sell for that. So remember auto sell, you go over here to this little gear. You can't set up auto sell until you have one of those products in inventory. So see down here now I have the flour that I didn't have before. So I'm going to click flour, and I'm going to set that to sell to 10. And there we go. Now, let's look at the Townstar playbook. And let's go here. And flour would be an item because that's something we produce. And then scroll down or do the Control F and find flour. And then you click the zoom in on it by going to item cards. And here is what flour is. It sells for $2,000 each. And remember, we sell in packages of 10, right? So that's, I guess, why it has the 10 here. 10 of them sells for 20 grand. And so that's a lot more than you get for the wheat. The wheat was only, let's find the wheat. Wheat is a cheap product. So refined products, some people call them level 2 or tier 2 products, almost always sell for more money than tier 1 products. I'm looking for wheat. The wheat, 10 of those only sells for 3,000. So see, would you rather make 3,000 or would you rather make 20,000? You'd rather make the 20,000, right? So now we're going to go back to our game. We're going to go back to customize. And now I don't want to sell my wheat unless, well, this is where you get back to strategies. Okay. I could say don't sell wheat at all now. I could just say remove that. I only want to sell flour and sugar cane. Okay. But what's going to happen is if you don't have the auto sell on the wheat, what can happen here is your silo can fill up with, like, for example, all sugar or all wheat. So sometimes we use the auto sell to balance out our silo where you say, every time I get 10 wheat, I want to sell it. Every time I get 10 sugar cane, I want to sell it. Or I need to build another silo over here so that each one can hold 10 or 20. But even then, you can't control which worker puts which item in the silo. The silos will always be mixed. Now, getting ahead here, they do have these things called NFTs. That's this blue button down here. And for example, I don't know, I start to forget which ones I have because I have quite a few. There are special storages, like here's the storage just for flour. So nothing else can go in that storage except for flour. I don't have anything like that for wheat. I have a wool storage. I have a sugar storage. I have a peppermint and a cotton storage. But I don't have like a wheat or a sugar storage. Okay. So this silo is always going to be mixed for my current game. Okay. Now, let's say we want to expand out further. We need more windmills, right? Because we just learned that we're making a lot more money with our windmills. Now, I'm going to do a bad thing first just to teach you a lesson of what not to do. I'm going to build a windmill right beside it here. Now, at the end of the game, when you look at people's games, you're going to see windmills side by side. Because at the end of the game, you're going to have, millions and millions of dollars probably up here, and you're going to be running out of spaces on your screen. And so at some point, you have to compromise where you're going to put your windmills. And let's say I'm going to stick one here as well. So I got to have a road. I don't want to put it here because it would then shade my crops and slow them down because a windmill casts 3 shades. So this is where the forest can be a bit of a pain because it's blocked by all these trees, right? You don't want to put it too far away where there's no road. So what I do lots of times is right here. I get rid of this water well because now I have passive water, and I start building a road down this direction. And let's say I want to put the windmill 1, 2, 3. I don't want it within 3 of my crops. So let's say I want to put it here. The rocks are really bad. Rocks cost 40,000 to remove, and so right now I have 10 million, so I could remove it, right? But at the beginning of the game, you're not going to have maybe 30, 40, $50,000. So you can't remove the rocks until you make like a few $100,000. So let's say what we're going to do. We're going to come here and put a road. We got to go to road. We're going to go over here to the terrain tab, I think it's called. And here's my road. Let's stick it right here. And now we want to repeat. So I'm going to do quick buy and just build a whole little bunch of roads. There. Green. Click this again. Here. Get in there. It's taken a while for me to learn this new interface. They basically switched from, I think, called Play Canvas to a new engine. I forget which engine they use. The new gaming engine is supposed to make the game a lot better. Now I want to build another windmill right here. So we're going to go back to the farm tab, windmills, W, so that's going to be down toward the bottom. Windmill, where are you? Right here, $7,500. Also, make sure you have plenty of cash before you do this. So again, at the beginning of the game, if you only had, say, $8,000 and a windmill cost $7,500, you wouldn't want to build it yet because you would run out of cash because once your windmill's done, you would be down to like $500. And right now you see you're eating up $420 a minute. So that $500 is going to be gone in 1 minute. And if you don't get a sale from your wheat or something, or from your wheat or your flour or something like that, you're basically going to run out of money. And all your workers will basically go on strike. They will go to their homes and just sit there when they're not being paid. So you got to have enough city cash to basically get paid. Okay. Now, another trick is you have in a forest like this, you have a little bit of a bank, and that's that you can sell the lake. So if I click right here, usually I do it on the corner of the lakes, I can remove that and I get $2,500. So say yes, and up here, my money just went up $2,500. So if you do run out of cash, you can use your lakes as kind of, or ponds as a bit of a savings account. Some people at the beginning of the game, they'll just sell like 5 or 10 or as many ponds as they want, and they get a lot of cash. But then if you ever run out of cash, you're not going to be able to sell one to get some more. So like, let's say I want to get rid of this one here. Another $2,500, right? So you don't appreciate right now how hard it is managing your money when they give you 10 million. I don't know why they did that in the demo. I guess they're trying to be nice, but on the other hand, it makes the game kind of unrealistic. Now, it seems like it's been a while. Why isn't this thing built yet? Oh, it's building it right now. Okay. So it took 5 wood, and now it took a few seconds to build, and there's my new windmill. And this one, I want to build sugar. So instead of flour, we know we have one crop of sugar cane. Let's build sugar. So now there goes the worker. He's going to go to your silo over here. There's 8 sugar canes sitting there. What's the inventory? He's going to grab one of those 8. The inventory. Oh, he has to grab the wood first. Sorry. Grab the wood. So remember, it needs 1 wood and 3 sugar cane. Okay. So at some point, if you build a bunch of windmills, you're going to need like another logger because you're going to start running out of wood. And so it's a game, again, of constraints and constantly balancing. You run short of one item, you build another item, and then you can run short of something else. That's the fun of the game. Okay, now over here, let's say I want to make this one do flour. You can stop, you can say here like craft, and you can stop making one, and then you can switch and make the other anytime you want. I kind of wish they would color code them so that like flour would be white and sugar would be blue or green or something, but they don't do it that way. Now, let me twirl the city around here a little. Here are these 2 windmills side by side. They're both waiting on something right now. Already. Oh, there. Ah, look at there. See, that's what I wanted to show you. 3 minutes and 55 seconds. This one is still waiting, but it should be 3 minutes, 55 seconds as well. That is slow, folks. Okay, like look at this guy. See, he's only like 30 seconds. So would you rather produce your sugar and your flour in 30 seconds or in like 3.5 or 4 minutes? 4 minutes. That's horrible, right? Why did it go red? It went red because I built another windmill right beside it. So the theory is that the wind's coming through here, and this windmill is blocking wind to this one, and likewise, this windmill is blocking wind to this one. Now watch what happens. I'm just going to hit remove here. Even though I spent $7,500 to build that windmill, I'm going to sell it and get back a fraction of that, like $1,875, okay? And now, boom, that should turn to green. Well, yeah, I think it was so fast. Yeah, I think it just immediately said, okay, product's ready because it had already ground for more than 30 seconds, you know. So anyway, next time that runs, it's going to be green again. So let's go look at the TownStar playbook and let's see how far apart we need to put our windmills. So a windmill is going to be on an object, whereas the thing it makes is an item. I'm going to go over here to windmill. See how many items there are here? It's actually pretty amazing. Windmill. And I like the big picture version. So click on the object card, and here we are, windmill. And you can see that it's got a grid or a matrix again of a 3, 2, 1. So it puts out, it says somewhere on here, 3 shade. So every square touching it is going to have 3. And then the diagonals are harder to figure out. That's why you need to look at these pictures. So if you're going to build two windmills close to each other, you need to put 3 spaces between them. If you want to go diagonal, it's a little trickier. You almost have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up 1. You can put one there. Okay, so let's just be safe. Let's put a windmill 3 away from that one. So we're going to come here. We're going to say, okay, that's like 1, 2, 3. But first, I need a road. So again, this may be repetitious, but you know, I think it's a learning opportunity. You just see over and over what you need to do here. So there's your road for there. Come on. We'll do the quick buy. Stick another road right there. And another road right here. Okay, remember windmills have to be next to a road. And now we're going to go look at our windmill, which is on the farm tab. Scroll down to the W's. I kind of wish they had a shortcut where you could just type like /windmill or something. Maybe they'll add that in the future. And now, remember I want 1, 2, 3 spots. And so this is the closest that windmill should be to the other one. So again, at the end of the game, rules are different, right? Because not the rules are not different, but at the end of the game, you might end up having 20 windmills side by side because you need other factories and other buildings on your board. And eventually you have to cram things together. And so it's also a game of compromises. At the beginning of the game, you need to worry about making cash and gas. Cash to stay alive up here, and gas so that you can keep selling things and not run out of gas. Okay, so that's your first goal, is to make money and to be able to make gas. Okay, and a lot of people call this a rush. At the beginning of the game, there are different strategies of how to make money. One of them is to sell things like wheat or sugar, which is refined in the windmills. The other one is to do animals. Okay, and we'll do some animals here too, just so you get the overview of everything. Okay, I'm going to twist my screen back around, and oh, you may have forgotten earlier I planted a forest down here. This is called a tree farm, actually. These are your raw trees that originally came with the game, and then this is a tree farm. And so later in the game, when you do have a lot of money, like here, what you can do is you can remove a tree. You're going to click that tree, and it costs 20 grand, 20 buckaroos, 20,000 bucks to get rid of it. But you just click that, and boom, you lose the money, but you have an extra spot. Getting rid of the rocks is going to cost you 40 grand. You're going to remove it. But make sure you have the money before you do that, right? So like eventually you might clear off a whole row down here, and maybe this road's going to come all the way down, for example. Okay. Now, let's switch the game to making some animals, okay? Animal products. Basically, you have a few to choose from. Let's go, first of all, to the store here, the built-in store. And we're going to go to the animal screen here, farm animals, ranching screen, I guess you'd call it. And you have two types of workers. You have the ranch house, that's the cheap version. And then later, when you have more money, you can afford the ATV, which is a rancher that's got wheels, and they basically move a lot faster. Okay, just like the tractor is to the farmer. So we're going to add a ranch house. This actually may not be the first thing I would normally build, but let's say we're going to put that. Again, we don't want to put it here because a house will cause 1 degree of shade onto the windmill. But I think we're going to be safe to put it here. Okay, and then over here, your animals are going to need water as well. So like, let's say right here, this corner is going to have a lot of water because it's going to have 2 from that, 2 from that, and 2 from that. So we have a choice of which animal we're going to make. Let's go down here to the store again, the ranch screen, and you can do chickens, which are cheaper. You can do milk barn, which makes milk from cows, and then you can do sheep, which makes wool. And I'm not going to go through the math on this screen. Basically, I've done spreadsheets many times on this game. Like, how do which one makes more money? Is making sheep better than making cows? A lot of people talk about a wool rush. So I'm assuming they've done the research, and we're going to go for making wool instead of cows right now. Okay. So we're going to make a sheep pen. Click that. And we're going to make sure it has lots of water. We're going to put it right there. Okay. And the sheep are going to have to eat. They do not eat wheat. They only eat feed. Okay. Or they graze in a meadow. So there are two ways to feed your sheep. One is to build some meadows. So you want to have your meadows like here real close. So meadows are over here in the store, and they're on the terrain screen. And meadow, oh, there it is, $500. So you can build a few meadows close to here. There's no shade issues, so they can be like right next to your crops. I'm not actually putting a lot of strategy into this where I'm putting things at the moment. And sometimes there'll be meadows on the board already. I can't remember if there are or not. I can't remember if that one was already there or not. So they'll look like this when they're growing, and then when they're grown, they have a slightly different raised color to them. Like this meadow is ready, so they're producing feed. Animals eat feed, okay? And so we're waiting on this guy to get built. I forget. I think he took three wood, and now the 3 wood have been delivered, and now he's open for business. We're gonna rotate his door. We want the animal to basically be facing the feed if possible, something like that. Okay. And the faster way to feed them is probably this, is you can, it's a little more complicated though. You can build a feed mill. So you're going to go over here. You can actually make feeds. You go to the ranch screen and you're going to scroll down, look for the feed mill here. $5,000. So we're going to put it, it does not give shade. We're probably going to need a couple of those. Let's say we put one there, one there. And the feed has to go into a food trowel for the trowel or trough. I've looked that up before and I always forget it. I think food trough. And the animal will either get it from the meadow, but he doesn't eat from the feed. These are like grinding machines. Once the feed is made, it has to be put in the trough. I'm going to go over here to the food trough. TROUGH. Crazy American word, right? And we're going to put that close here where the guy can get his food. And now we're waiting on these to be built. Ooh, they need 3 wood each. That needs 3 wood. This needs 1 wood. Let's check our little wood shed over here. We have 7 wood, so it'll just take a few minutes for those to get built. Meanwhile, we might as well build another sheep. So again, you got to watch your money. You can't overbuild at the beginning of the game. You can when you have $10 million like this, but a normal game, you do not want to overbuild. So you may have to build one little sheep, wait for 10 wool to sell, and then build another sheep farm, and then wait for those 10 next 10 wool to sell, and then build another sheep, okay? Sheep pen. And that's the way the game kind of develops. Now the sheep is going to go in this storage unit right here. I'm actually going to rotate him. He faces this road. And I want you to see at least one piece of wool being made here. Meanwhile, I'll add another. Oh, let me show you the down here at the bottom. Um, I'm going to have to just test here. In the old game, it was easier to tell if this was a river or an ocean. It's actually kind of hard to see. So I'm going to just do a test. I'm going to put a sheep pen down here. That will tell me what it is. That build. If it is a river, the river provides passive water, and it's basically goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you get a lot of water from a river. On the other hand, an ocean provides something called saltiness, which is used to make salt. So that's the other thing we can put over here. We can put a salt, and then we'll know whether it's an ocean or a river. Like I said, in the old game, I knew the colors of blue in the old game. Like I think if it had a white border, I think it was an ocean, and if it was more of a brown border, it was like a river. What am I looking for? Salt. Salt is a crop that would be on the farm screen, and we're looking for a salt field. That's the third type of product you can grind in your windmills. And that's right here. And we will place that. Oops, I guess I accidentally clicked over here. That was not good. What does it take to build? Oh, it doesn't take any wood or anything because it's a field, right? Okay. Now, see, it says evaporating brine, which is salt basically. It takes like 3 minutes, and that's slow. So that's telling me this is not an ocean; it's a river. Okay, because salt will grow in like. Actually, I have to take that back. Would have to go look. I just remember that salt grew a lot faster than that if it was an ocean. So hold on to that thought for a minute. I know the video just reached an hour, so I'm going to try to wrap this up in about 5 minutes. Waiting on this sheet pan. Let's see if we got any wool yet. So if we go over here, look at this storage unit. Yeah, we got one wool. So we're going to go back to our auto sell up here. We're going to find our wool. Where's the wool? You're going to have to learn all these little icons. You don't actually have to learn them. You can click on them and then it says wool. So like if you're not sure if that's a sugar or a wool, you click on it and then it tells you the name of the product. So this is a wool and I want to sell when I get 10 of those. So these are the three things that I'm selling now. By the way, you want to turn the sound off and stuff like that. You go to advanced options. Music kind of bothers me from this. I mean, it's just kind of the same simple thing over and over. It's cute for about a minute or two or 5 minutes maybe, and then I don't want it anymore. There's other options here, but right now the sound is the main one you might want to turn off there. Okay, so now we're going to check this little sheet pen down here. Oh, well, that tells me it's an ocean. Okay, so he's carrying the water to the sheep pen, so I know this isn't a river. If this was a river, I would have 5 water immediately here. It only needs 5 water, and boom, it would just have water. This is green, which also kind of tells me it's an ocean. I thought brine grew a little faster than that. I guess the theory is, it's a salt field and it has to dry out, evaporate, and anyway, if you're next to a salt-based ocean, it makes it faster. Like if I were to put a salt field somewhere else, let me just show you. Where's my salt line, or whatever it's called? Salt field. And under S for salt. Let's say we stuck it right here. Should be a bad place. The timer will be red and no, that's not right. Okay. Again, this is a new version of the game. They might have some bugs, okay? Normally it would be red if it's not next to the ocean, and it might take 5 or 10 minutes to make your salt. So then you would need a lot more salt fields. Whereas if that's what it looks like when it's done there. See how big those little octagons or hexagons are? So next to the ocean, these will grow quickly. Since now I know this is not an ocean, that was a bad place to put a sheep pen. I'm going to remove my sheep pen from there. And I really want to put my sheep pens, like somewhere like this where they're next to the water. So I could remove the marsh, and then I could add a sheep pen right there. Go back to the animal screen here. Sheep. Check your money before you do that. And I'll stick Okay, so I think that wraps up this video. I've just covered all the really basic stuff, what you're going to do your first, probably your first 30, 40 minutes or an hour of the game. You see, it took me an hour, but I'm explaining things as I go. What you want to do is start selling products that are in the 20, 30, $40,000 range and not products that are in the $2,000 or $3,000 range. So when you sell, let me just show you again. Another way you can find out the price of wool rather than going to the Town and Star playbook, you can click the truck, click sell, and then over here, find your wool if you have any in inventory, click it, and then there it gives you the price. So the wool sells for $37,500, which is pretty good. Okay, a lot better than wheat, obviously. And so now, if you're selling something for that amount of money, you're going to make a lot more money more quickly, and you're not going to waste your gasoline. Because up here, I started out by wasting a lot of gasoline. And see, I only have 33 left right now. So I did a video, like I said, this morning, April 27th, on my normal gas setup. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to start making money from having a bunch of sheep pens or a bunch of sugar or a bunch of wheat, whatever product you choose to do. Sheep is probably the best one, okay? And while you're making that money, you're going to build up your funds over here. And again, you're not going to get 10 million in the real game. So when you get like starting having say $100,000, $200,000 in your city cash up here, you're going to go find a section of your town and you're going to start building your industrial complex, which usually is 2 power plants, 2 refineries, a lumber mill, some paved roads, a couple water pumps. It's actually a pretty lengthy process. And so that's why I have a totally separate video just on that. So hopefully this gives you the basics of Townstar. You know, it's also a competition when they have competitions. I'm in the practice server right now. So in the competition server, at least in the old version, up here they would have stars. Let me just show you that real quick. I'm going to go out of the new game and I'm going to go back into the old version of the game. So this is the old version, the current version of Townstar here. The new version they're calling Townstar Gadot, G-A-D-O-T, Gadot. Like the play, Waiting for Gadot. If you've ever seen that play in school. Um, what did I come here for? Oh, the stars I was telling you about. So see up here, these are the stars. And when you click that little round circle, it's telling you what your rank is. So we're in a practice town now, but in that town, I'm ranked number 258. In practice towns, your rank is really irrelevant because it's not a competition. Um, and you go to the top 10, you can see how many points they have, how many stars they have, and so on. Go out of that. I'm uncertain what when you sorry, go back here. I'm in server number 3. So in the old system, we had 5 practice servers or test servers, and then we had the real competition server. Competitions normally begin on Tuesday, 11 or 12 Central Time, and adjust that for your time zone. It's not guaranteed to be that in the future, but that's what it's been for pretty much the last couple of years. Your town does, you can only build so far. So like you can see your town, I think it's 20, is it 20 by 20 roughly squares? You have like 400 squares on there, give or take, and you cannot build, outside of that. It'd be nice if you could add an extension over here, but you cannot do that at this time. This is what the refinery looks like. Like I said, I have a whole nother video just on that. But when you sell something right now, you're going to get these stars. And that's where it gets into what's called the meta. So let's talk about meta real quick. Every contest, they say this week, the meta is this. And for a while, they said they're going to call it dynamic rules, but the word meta has tended to stick over the word dynamic rules. So meta means like this week, cakes are going to have 1,000,000 stars. And so the only way you can really win is to make cakes. The next week, they'll say, oh, this week, what's an example? Jet fuel is going to be the meta. And so jet fuel will sell for, again, like $1,000,000 or 500,000, some large number. And to really win, you got to make jet fuel. So whatever the meta is for that week, that's what you have to make the ultimate goal of your town to do. But like you can't just start making jet fuel at the beginning of the game. Here's an example. Here's a refinery. When I hit craft, jet fuel is one of the products you can make. But in the normal town, we don't even use jet fuel. There is no airplane yet. Maybe in the future we'll have an airport or something like that. So it's only currently used when you have a meta where you have to build jet fuel. But you can see here it takes petroleum and water and energy and so on. Okay, this is how you make gas. So If the meta is, for example, jet fuel, you can't build the refinery. Well, a refinery only costs $15,000, but you need power plants to really make it good. Power plants cost like 250,000, give or take. So you're going to have to make your rush and have some product that you're selling. And see, in this game, I'm using these cows over here. These are actually NFTs in this game. These are like fast cows. They make milk faster than the normal cows do. And then over here, I'm making candy canes and these two buildings. And the candy canes require sugar. That's why I have all these windmills in this game are all making sugar. And you can see how I spaced them apart, just like I taught you earlier in this video. And this is like an intermediate town. This is not a final town. Like I had this town built so that I could practice whatever the next meta is. So basically, this is like a generic town. And then if they say build sushi, then I start building that. If they said build jet fuel, I can do that. So you see here, I've made $38 million basically just selling my candy canes. Okay. And you can let the game run overnight or something like that and just, build up some cash if you're in the practice towns. And then you can use that to build the type of town you really want. So see here, I have 5 sugar canes, and to water them, I'm using an NFT, which is called a water tower. Okay, so that's an expensive NFT, like several $100s, and it just gives water to like 4 or 5 spaces around it. Okay, so a lot of water. This is another water tower, which gives I think only 4 around it. So it's watering some of these trees over here, and then this is a river over here. So these trees are getting 5 water directly from the river. And then like these trees would get 4 water from the river, and then it has to get the next water from either the pond here or this tower here. So this is what a town starts to look like when you get it kind of in the intermediate stage. You see the roads, you can actually pave them. And then a paved road, the characters will run a lot faster on it, where they kind of walk slowly they walk really slow on the green areas. They walk a little faster on the regular roads, and then they go really fast on the paved roads. So that is my overview of Townstar. I know it went a little long. It's an hour and almost 15 minutes now. But I think I've given you enough in this video that you should be able to start, and then you need to go watch my gas video as well, and then just combine those two concepts, and you'll be able to get off to a good start. I hope you enjoyed playing Townstar like I have. I've been doing it about 2 years. There's a bunch of us that are kind of crazy about it. And there's a Discord forum. You can sign up for Discord and ask questions on it as well. I try to answer questions pretty promptly, at least a day or two within my YouTube channel. If you have questions, please stick them below. If this has taught you anything, I appreciate a like and, like I said, comment, and I will talk to you on there. And there's a link below the video. If you've never played Townstar and you want to start playing Townstar, please use my link. There's actually a little bit of a bonus I get for that in this coming up May. Normally there is no bonus, but in May there will be this year. So thanks for watching. Enjoy my channel, and we'll see you on the next video.